My dad has lung cancer.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
He's been battling for 18 months now,
Oh,
and
wow. Is he
he
pretty
lives in
tired?
Maine. I'm sorry.
Is he pretty tired of it now?
I think he's getting there.
Yeah.
It recently migrated to his brain, and so they started to do radiation, and the radiation is just wiping him out.
Yeah.
So,
It does.
um,
It does.
I try to go. I'm in Ohio, and they're in Maine, and I try to make the trip every 5 or 6 weeks. So
Yeah.
I'm due to go there again next week. Um, but yeah, so my dad loves his dog. His dog is his support
Yeah.
person, if you will.
That's
Loves,
awesome.
loves, loves his dog. So this is my dad's book that I did,
Oh, that's beautiful.
and it is all about
We're going
the
to start
dog's
off with
devotion
that book.
to my dad. Yeah, I mean it's what I did with this one is, I took photographs when I was up there.
Welcome to Wisdom on the Front Porch, the original think tank, where wisdom, laughter, friendship, and ingenuity are shared by entrepreneurs for entrepreneurs.
Your hero in the background.
That's right. My superhero. You like that?
I
Here we
do.
are, Superhero LS with wisdom on the front porch, and we're reading between the words today with Kira. And wow, are you so glad that you're here today? Because Kira is going to start off with one of you have 4 or 5 books, Kira.
I have four right now.
Okay,
I have
she's going
four.
to start off with what I think is the best because it's got so much heart and love and everything you want. So, Kira, our audience needs to know who you are. They want to meet the author, and then we'll talk about your book next.
Okay, great. It is so good to be here. I love that you had me on. I am 58. I have been writing since I was a child.
Oh,
It's always been my dream, the one thing I wanted to do. Um, I tried very, very hard in my 20s and my 30s, to get a book published. I got an agent and I had some good reads with editors, just never quite got there. I had to
mhm.
give up writing when I turned 40 because I got divorced and I needed to make money. So it kind of got backburnered. But then, in a really weird roundabout way, the business that I started to support myself ended up turning into books.
Oh, nice.
And yeah, so I published for the first time not till I was 55, and three more since then.
That's awesome. I had to turn on the light. It's gotten darker out. We've got this little storm coming over. I love that. Now this book we're going to talk about now is is one that's kind of close to my heart because I have a book on a dog and it's based on my husband's service dog when it passed away. And the book has
Oh,
morphed into so much more than that. But tell us the name of the book and then show us the cover and tell a little bit about the cover for those that are just hearing this, not watching the video.
this book is brand new. I published it in about mid-January 2026. It's now the beginning of March 2026. So I guess it's brand new. Um, it's called I Love You the Most. My dad has been battling lung cancer for the past year and a half.
Mm.
And I try to go there as frequently as I can. Um, his dog is his favorite non-human person. It's his support
Yeah.
system.
Oh, yeah.
So they live in Maine, very picturesque. They live on a wooded lane. And I was up there, not this past winter, the winter before. And, we would take walks, my dad and I, with the dogs every morning. And there was snow on the trees and snow in the ground. And, it just, it's his happy place, And we didn't talk about the cancer, just talked about life,
Yeah.
And so I just started to take pictures. And so what happened next was a book. And so
Look at
this book,
that.
it talks about my dad's dog's devotion to him, because while the dog is his favorite non-human person, my dad is easily his dog's most favorite person in the whole entire
Yes.
world. And
And
it is,
dogs do choose a person, don't they? You can have a
yes.
family of 6 or 20, and the dog's going to choose one person that it hangs out with the most.
And it's evident. It's
Yeah.
evident she adores him. And when he is not home, she worries for him and cries for him and stresses for
Mm.
him. And, they just, yeah.
Oh,
So
that's awesome.
my gift to my dad is, I'm gonna share this for you. He was always, even when I was writing and failing, he was diligently taking a red pen to my manuscripts and helping and
Oh,
encouraging.
wow.
Both my parents were always that way,
That is
but
awesome. I want to stop you just for a minute because
sure.
those that are on audio didn't get to see the cover. And the cover is this beautiful, is it a photograph that's turned into like a drawing? It's just
Yes.
gorgeous. There's trees on the side, there's a path in the front, and you're watching your dad and his dog walking down that path. It's just beautiful.
And this was something that I learned how to do um this
Oh,
year.
wow.
Something that I didn't do before,
Great
but
illustrations inside.
and they look like a colored sketch. They look
Yeah.
exactly like a colored sketch. But you know what else? It also looks exactly like my dad.
That's
And
awesome.
they're
And you, is that you on the
and
back of
me.
the book? You and your dad together. Oh, that is really nice.
And there's a quote that I found on the back of the book, and it says, "The greatest pleasure of a dog is that you may make a fool of yourself with him. And not only will he not scold you, but he will make a fool of himself too."
Oh, that's beautiful.
And
Oh,
that's their relationship, you know. But no, these are actual photographs that I took while I was there, and I found a program that uses AI to convert the photos, and you can choose
oh,
all
that's
different
wonderful.
versions of it. And then this one was called Color Sketch, and it was perfect. It was
You and
exactly
I are
what I
going to talk about that afterwards. I know our audience is going to
wanted.
want to hear it too, some of them, but that's another one. We want to hear about these books. So you have this one. I
Yeah.
love you the most. You've got one that's Arlo the Camp Bus, which I need to get more clarification on that title. And then you have Fabric Wars and more. So
Yeah.
let's talk first or second, now that we've had I love you the most. Let's talk about Arlo the Camp Bus. What an interesting title.
So I I divorced at 40. I remarried a much better match at 45.
Oh,
We bought an old farm together, and we share 8 grandchildren. And our
wow.
grandchildren are the loves of our lives.
Yes. Yeah, they
And we,
are.
yes, and they come to the farm every chance we can get, but none of them live closer than 2 hours away. So the one thing that we started doing 11 years ago, we started to have camp for a week on the farm with the
Oh,
grandkids.
how
Started
fun.
with
What a
one
great
grandchild,
idea.
and it just seemed like every year another child came along, you know. So we have this big pond, lots of fishing to be done. You can catch a fish with nothing on your hook.
Oh,
It's just perfect for kids. There's an old pontoon boat in the middle of the pond, and we put a water slide on it. They have go-karts, they have
oh,
kayaks, you name it, they
fun.
have it here. We have probably 30 animals, including 2 coops full of chickens. That was our camp project one year, was to watch chickens hatch from eggs. We put them in an incubator.
Oh, that's so much fun to do.
And so we had 8 kids, and we're kind of running out of space in vehicles to go from point A to point B. So one year we're like, you know what, buy a bus. Why not? So we bought an old transit bus. It was a retired church bus. It seats a total of 11 people, including the driver. So it gave us one extra seat for a junior counselor. There was a period of time when we had way too many 3-year-olds in the mix. And so we would hire a junior counselor. So yeah, I took this bus and I painted it to look an awful lot like the Scooby-Doo bus. It
That
is
is so
turquoise and lime
fun.
green and has big orange flowers on it. And inside it has flowered seats and turquoise shag fur hanging from the ceiling. There's flowers painted inside. I mean, inside and out, it is like this retro bus.
That's
Um,
wonderful.
so my mom, she's always said to me, "I want you to write kids' books." I always thought I was going to write
Oh,
fiction, contemporary women's fiction, but she's, "I
right.
really want you to write kids' books." And the
That's
woman who
funny
painted,
because my daughter is the one who got me to write. I wrote books for my grandchildren, but my
yeah,
daughter's the one who got me to publishing to where I am now. It's amazing how one suggestion can kind of spark something you didn't know needed sparked.
yeah.
Let's
And then you're
continue
like,
your story.
huh, all right, why
Why
not?
not?
you know The woman who painted the covers of my Fabric Wars books, she wanted to do illustrations for a children's book. So it's just like I was getting
Oh,
pressure on both sides of me. So I'm like,
yeah.
all right, let's do it. You know.
Leave me
So yeah,
alone, I'll do it.
the bus is a main character.
Oh,
Arlo is probably the main character of the story, and he just goes, yeah, we're talking about camp adventures, but there's also little life lessons in there that kids all go through, and emotions and moods and feelings, and
oh,
so yeah, every book that I'm putting out there for this, I want it to have a message for the child,
yes,
for the
yes.
and so the message of the first book, it was a neglected old transit bus that we picked up and made it pretty again. And so the message for the first book is I am loved, you know.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
So the second one hopefully will be out in late spring is the plan.
Oh, that's wonderful. I love
Yeah.
series books. They're so much fun and kids really enjoy it because it's good to have one book, but when you've got another one that kind of backs up the other one and maybe emphasizes something else, it's really great. I'm doing that with my Baxter books. I wanted to do it with my reading writing Frogs in the Backyard, but it just didn't quite work. Sometimes that happens when you're an author. Things don't quite work, but now I've got this series book of Baxter's Heart going into I was going to do Max's Parrot next, but I've run into some complications with my writing and what needs to be out there. So we're going to skip ahead and go to Teacher's Pet, Classroom Pets, and then we'll go on to the other animals. We'll go on to the farm cat. So there's always something that goes on there. But I love it because now with your books, Arlo, the camp bus who talks about love, now you get to talk about other things that kids go through and how they deal with
Yes.
it. And I have a question for you because I've had people ask me this, and I want to get your opinion on it. When you're writing books for children, especially when you're doing a life lesson, as an adult, you're no longer a kid. How do you go back in time or somehow become a kid and look through the eyes of a child and get their viewpoint on what's going on?
This is I
Tough
was
question,
raised
I know.
no, but it makes me laugh because my dad in his professional life was a psychologist. My
Oh,
mother in her professional life was a behavior specialist. So
why?
I feel like growing up in that house, I was pretty much analyzed from day one. And
Oh my
I
goodness.
kind I kind of feel like I have this inner pass into not just children's brains, but I don't know. My poor husband, he's no match for psychological warfare in this house. He just isn't. And to be able to be in somebody's head and be like, yeah, I know what you're thinking. So maybe I do and maybe I don't. But growing up in that atmosphere, if anything, it taught me to look a little bit deeper than what you see on the outside. And
That's
if you
wonderful.
see that a child is acting out or is quiet,
Mhm.
and you look at this behavior, and to be able to look past that and ask yourself what's causing this behavior. The second book that's coming out, Arlo and the Drippy Chocolate Ice Cream Cone, the character in this one is a little girl who is first time to camp, and she's just very upset all the time, no matter what the other children want to do with her. No, she just doesn't want a part of anything. And it's
Wow.
easy to look at her and be like, wow, why is she so grumpy? But when
Yeah.
it comes to the end of the story, and when somebody finally cracks the code that she's just not feeling very special in front of all these other kids who have been to camp before and who know how to do these things at camp that she's never done before. And gosh, I felt special at home, but I'm just not feeling special right now. To be able to look
Oh, yeah.
beyond what the child is feeling and to come full circle with it. So yes, at
Scared
the
and
end of
left
that
out
story,
and
yeah,
maybe I can't do this and everyone's going to make fun of me and all of those things that go on with that. That's
yeah.
really that's funny because I was going to ask you if you have a book about that. And here it's coming out because there's a lot of times that my granddaughter, she's 15 and we've talked about this, about somebody in the class who maybe is not as happy as everybody else, or looks at things way differently than everybody else. And it's like, what's going on with them? Why? What's happening? You don't have to become best friends, but try to have a little more compassion, understanding that maybe there's something else that's there. And she's got really great insight on people anyways, but just having that little bit of a, well, that's an interesting aspect. I know that she's
Yeah.
going to keep looking at it, and maybe I'll ask her about that tonight. What did you find out? What did you see? Because I see that in her a lot, and usually she does that right away. She tries to figure out what's going on behind the scenes. It's just part of who she is, and she just never thought about it with this one student. I'm not sure why, but that's interesting. And we need to do that even as adults. We need
Yes.
to do something like that. I see a
Yes.
lot of these kids' books that I think adults need to be reminded of it. It's a friend of mine. We just had a podcast together, and he's talking about the business end and his employees, and we got talking about it's like maybe we need to find out what's really going on as to why this employee is not a leader. What's happened, what's the surroundings behind there. And once you do that, it's like, oh, well, this makes total sense now, and one of the things that some of his friends who are business owners said, your book is really great for those who haven't read it, but for me, it was a reminder that I need to go back to my basic roots and look at these things again. And I think as adults and as parents, we forget to go back and look at the child view of something, keeping it simple, trying to understand what's going on with the other person, because it's too
Right.
easy to get wrapped up in ourselves.
It is too easy. And, we all have our problems. We all have our struggles. We all have a difficult walk through this
Hmm.
journey at times. And it could be one person that turns it around or one person that turns it in the wrong direction permanently. It's
Right.
just, yeah.
Yeah,
So your
absolutely.
granddaughter's very blessed that she has that gift to be able to
Oh,
look deeper and to pull it out of somebody.
and
It's a
it's
gift.
really nice. I'm not glad, I guess, that her mom's deployed, but since her mom's deployed, she's staying with us, and especially with all that's going on right now. And she's safe, by the way, if anybody
Thank
was
you.
wondering. I just got
Amen.
a notice from her. So I'm learning to have a teenager in the house again. And
Yeah.
and she's learning, this whole new area. It's so different from where she was at. But yeah, I'm she's working through some college stuff today, and so she's been texting me. So I'm sorry that I had to take that.
Oh,
Um,
you're fine.
but
Yeah. I
yeah,
drop everything for my grandkids. So I'm with you.
yeah, it's amazing. I actually really love having a teenager in the house. I mean, it wasn't so amazing when she was tired last night and grumpy, but it's like, yeah, it's temporary. I know they get over it. I'm
Never.
old enough now to know the difference. And it's like,
It's growing
well,
pains.
yep. She, this day will pass too, and something else will come up, but there's all those most wonderful things. And that's what I really like about writing children's books and reading books to children, or giving them to moms. There's some great places that we as adults can help other people with their children. There's a ministry, I guess is the right word to say, to where um, women in prison who have children get books, and when the kids come to visit them, they get to read the book to them. Now, some of these moms have never in their life read a book to their children. I mean, that just blew me away right there.
That's the
And to
thing.
be
There are
able to
not many parents doing it.
Yeah, and to be able to give them a book that they can read with their child is amazing. And look at your book right there. It's talking about I'm not feeling very special. Boy, you talk about not a place to not feel special. So you're reaching not only the child with this book to help them have something to hang on to, but you're reaching the parent or the aunt or the uncle, whoever it is that is reading, the grandparent, even the babysitters that are reading the stories, because everybody goes through a time in their life when they don't feel very special.
Right.
And For a lot of people, they just want to run away and leave. And some people do. Instead of being in that uncomfortable situation, they leave. But here you're showing that it's okay to stay. That yes, it's uncomfortable, but there's ways to deal with it and work around it and find out what's really going on. Um,
And at
I,
the end of the day, you're still okay. You're just
yes,
fine the way you are, and
yeah,
it's something that's become important to me as I've gotten older. As we get older, we start to think about what am I
get
leaving
wiser.
behind, you
Yeah.
know? And so I want to leave something positive. I want to leave
Oh, yes.
something that not only my grandkids can take with them and read to their grandchildren one day and talk about camp and, you know, yeah. I mean, yes, there's
Absolutely.
8 grandkids, there's 8 campers in Arlo. Yes, some of them sort of resemble my grandchildren, but at the same time, we won't let them own any of the characters. We're like, well, it could be about you, but it could just be about this person too. So yeah.
That's funny. I love that. I tell you, one of the things I did with my grandkids, and I had to do this because my granddaughter and I were driving from my house to her house, and the song came on the radio, and I just started making up words that made my granddaughter laugh. I mean, she just busting a gut back there, and it was wonderful. 2 weeks later, her and her mom come to the house, and she says, Grandma, tell my mom that song. And I'm like, what song? I'd forgotten all about it. I didn't remember. And she's telling me, and all of a sudden I realized, oh, I know what she's talking about. She goes, "Oh, and told her about it. She goes, "Yeah, that song." And I says, "I am so sorry. I don't remember it. I just made it up as we were going." And the devastation on her face was just breaking my heart in two. So at that moment, I decided when I tell them bedtime stories, when I sing them songs, I'm going to do songs I'm familiar with or stories I'm familiar with and just substitute their name and some of the things they like. That way, if it's not quite the same, we still kind of get the same gist with it. And that was kind of for me, my first introduction into writing children's books because I wrote them for my grandchildren.
Mhm.
And then it's just kind of morphed from there. But it's been fun. It's been fun to do that. So there's a tip for all of you grandparents out there or moms and dads. If you want to tell a quick bedtime story, think of the stories you grew up with and just put their names in it, the things that they like.
Insert the names.
Yep.
Yeah.
There you go. So tell us about your other two books.
That's kind of what started for me, at least, the confidence that I could put books out there. After collecting rejections for so
Mhm.
many years, it's hard on the psyche.
It is. Let me interrupt you real quick. For
Sure.
those that don't know, on YouTube, there's a video about Stephen King, and he talks about that, about the nail on the wall. His first rejection letter, he just actually nailed it to the wall, and he kept nailing him and kept nailing him until it fell down. There were so many there. So what did he do? He started a second nail and just kept pounding those rejection letters in there until he finally got a yes. But I get it. And publishing is changing so much right now, but it's
Yes.
hard to get those rejections because you second guess yourself and we shouldn't do that. We know what we've got, and if we've had other people read it and they love it and they know what we've got, then just keep pushing on because somewhere you're going to find your way. So I want to hear your story now. You're getting these rejection letters, and what were you thinking? What was going through your mind?
Some of the rejections were harder than others. I did get an agent fairly early on with the first book. I
Okay.
wrote 4 good-sized novels. He got me a few really great reads. He got me a read with a prominent editor at Warner. And that was probably my hardest rejection because she had my book a year before I got that
Wow.
no. And
Wow.
that's a long
Wow.
time to wait for no.
Yeah.
Um, and consequently, she happened to be reading the same time she was reading me, Nicholas Sparks. So
Oh,
Nicholas Sparks
really?
got that first yes, and I got that
Oh,
no.
man.
So
Oh,
that was a little bit hard. She did write some really great, encouraging comments. She did
oh,
take the
good.
time to have something to say, which which is unusual because a lot of times they just don't. A lot of times it's
Yeah,
just, no.
that was
So
really nice.
it was, yeah, it was very nice. I wonder if I still have that rejection somewhere. Unlike Stephen King, I did not put them on a wall. I kept them in a box, and that box got pretty darn heavy.
I
And I don't know if
imagine.
I finally got to the point where I burned it. I can't remember, but I don't know where it is.
Yeah, yeah,
But it had to get to the point where people who love to write, people who have it in you, I really think people are born wanting to write. And if it's
yes.
there, it just doesn't really ever go away.
That's
It
so
finds
true.
ways to come out. I finally did publish magazine articles in my 30s. And what happened when I started this business of buying and selling to make money, which I never in a million years could have predicted that that was what was going to take off business wise. I started to tell the stories of how I found things and the people I met, and
Oh, wow.
it became like a little diary on my shop pages. And so it was my customers that started telling me to write a book. And I'm like, wait, what? you know,
Yeah, absolutely.
it's
Yeah.
like I haven't written in 20 years, and now you're going to tell me to write a book. And not only
But
are you
you
telling
were
me,
writing. Oh, excuse me. You were
yeah,
writing. You
just
just didn't realize you were writing.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And so it's like you just realize that no does not mean never.
Yes.
And
Yes.
and I came back to it. It came full circle. I never thought I'd write nonfiction. So not only were they telling me to write a book, they were telling me what to write. But it was like, okay, so here's my audience. Why not? Let's do it.
That's awesome. I love that. And that's, I just spoke with Rich Ashton, and he wrote his book from the blogs he wrote for his company. And it just stayed with his company. It wasn't out to the whole world.
Mhm.
But the book is available to the whole world. And it's true. You take what you've already done. I know people who have kept journals all of their life, and now they're writing books from their journals. It's just amazing that we think we can't do something when probably we've already done it and we just haven't realized it. We need to look at it from a different perspective. Um, so tell us a little bit about these textile, are they textile books or they're called Fabric Wars. What is that all about? That sounds fun.
Well, the first shop that I opened up was on eBay, and I bought and sold anything and everything. I still
Mhm.
do. Still have the original shop. It was fair game to anything that I thought could make me money.
Yes.
At one point, fabric became something I wondered if I could make money because I was buying it cheap. And so it just grew. I started to have this fabric shop that grew inside the eBay shop. And as it got bigger and my customer base grew, I realized that I really needed to look a little bit more polished in this arena. So that's
Okay.
when I opened up a second shop on Etsy. And
Okay, good.
it's only fabric, it's only textiles, vintage, antique, recycled, salvaged,
Oh boy, I need to
repurposed.
go to your shop.
So it is for the eclectic crafter, and it took off. And yeah, that's when I
That's
started to write
amazing.
stories about my encounters with other fabric people on the auction front and trying to buy and sell.
How
But then
fun.
it turned into just a big journal because it wasn't just about buying and selling fabric. It was about buying and selling everything and how I got to that point. And again, the people I've met, the good, the bad, the ugly, the funny, the whatever. It's like a diary. And so I
Oh,
think there's 50, I don't know, 55 chapters between the two books, something like that. They're about 350 pages a piece, but it just dives into all of it. And
oh, that's just
they were very fun
interesting.
to write. Very fun to write.
It
Yeah.
sounds
But
like it. I love that. With Joann's Fabrics doesn't exist now.
no,
Everybody went to Joann's and then they've been doing some changing and now they're not there. You go into what do we have around here? We have Michael's, we have Hobby Lobby. To just go find fabric, it's hard. I actually bought fabric online for the first time. I need to recover my chair. But even though I have it, I'm going to go look at your shop because this is a very old chair. It's very Victorian looking. I love the pattern that's on it already. I just couldn't find anything I found something close to it, but I couldn't find it. But I'm going to check your shops out and see what they're like.
You'll have to go take a peek. Now, I do come
Yeah.
across yardage in bigger pieces, but the shopper has to appreciate the fact that I acquire everything I sell from the estates of other people who craft and make things. Because I do
Oh, yeah.
upholstery too, and I make quilts. So what I usually come across is either the piece that they bought to do a project that they never did, or
Right.
it's the leftover piece of when they got finished. Because as fabric people and craft people, I don't know about you, I don't throw away anything. I have a
No.
whole cabinet of scraps, every size, shape imaginable.
But you've got places you can do that. And that's one of the
Yeah.
things I've been thinking about, because I have an eBay store from years ago that I haven't even used. I'm still on eBay looking for things, but gosh, I thought about having an estate sale, but we live so far away from everybody that I just don't think we would get the traffic like we did when I was closer to town. Um, so I've been thinking maybe I should go back to eBay. You're encouraging me. Wow, this has been a good podcast for me. Thank
Gotta
you.
make some
There
money
you
so
go,
you
our
can buy
audience.
some more.
Yeah, no. I've got other things I want to do now, and I've got plenty.
Yeah, amen. I've got plenty
Yeah.
as well.
But
But
this is great. Here you've taken things that you've done in your life and you're sharing that with other people because people love to hear real life stories. We like to see how did you manage this? How did you go through it? What are you doing with it? And when I have wisdom on the front porch, which by the way, you need to come on there as an entrepreneur. We need to talk about your business. But coming into the writing space, how many of us have these little stories? And some people say, "Oh, I don't have enough story for a whole book." That's when you get a hold of me and you write one of my The Giving book. Because we've got, as I turn around, here was my very first The Giving book. Just
oh, I
really
love it.
thin. It's so tiny. And every one of these books all the profit from Amazon and my personal sales go to the nonprofit. But in here, we just have so many. I mean, this one is just hilarious. If you can see that, I'm holding up my book, The Giving book. Well, you can't
It
really.
looks like a bottle of ketchup. Is that a
It
bottle of
does.
ketchup?
It does, but it says awesome sauce and it has a little
Okay.
avatar of the guy who sent it to me. And it says, "Life is delicious when you add awesome sauce." It was by Gordon B. Melville. He's just wonderful. Um,
Nice.
but yeah, I mean, there's places to put your one story. In fact, this first book and the next two volumes that I have people who just wrote one thing because they'd never written anything before. They didn't know what it was like to publish a book, to write a book. And so they wrote in those. And then one of them went and did their own anthology. They had other people contribute to her book, and it was wonderful. One of the other ones is finally writing her novel. In fact, it should be out this year. I'm so proud of her. But it's kind of taking that first step, and
Mhm.
anthologies are a great place to write. Sometimes um, people who are the ones producing the book have certain standards that they want, certain things they want, so maybe it's not as enjoyable. But there's other books that are out there. There's other ones. Always getting my Giving book. I'll, help you through it all the way. Want it to be real enjoyable to be there. We're in volume 6 right now, so that's a good time
Oh,
to
that's wonderful.
get a hold of it. Yeah, 6 volumes. Who would have thought in 4 years that I would have 6 volumes? It's just crazy.
It's
Wonderful
nice to have a
crazy
set
though.
though.
Yes.
I've got the third book coming for Fabric Wars because I always saw a trilogy. And it's probably
Oh,
going to be the
nice.
final chapter of Fabric Wars because now really want to work on the Arlo series. But it's like, no, I have to finish this because I always saw a trilogy, you know.
Yeah.
But I did a podcast with an independent producer who also published his book. He does science fiction, and he's writing and putting together an anthology. And he invited me to contribute. And he said, I was kind of looking for fiction writers. He said, but yeah, in your case, you can submit to me nonfiction if you
Awesome.
want to, because he said, I love your stories. He left me one of the best. He read my whole book, didn't expect it. He's a sci-fi
Oh,
guy. What does he care about this type of stuff,
yeah.
And
Wow.
he read my book cover to cover, said he couldn't put it down, left me this amazing review. So you just
That's
never know. You never
wonderful.
know what opportunity you're going to come across and from whom.
Yes, yes. And I love that you mentioned that because how many of us do judge a book by its cover? You know, there's that old saying, don't judge a book by its cover. And it's talking about people, you know, don't judge people until you understand what's inside. And just by him saying that, shows that you're writing from your heart. You're writing from a place that is going to affect other people's heart. That's why I like the giving book. It's from our heart to your heart. That's why I came
Mhm.
up with the title. It's my way of giving back to the world every year. But when you can write your books that come straight from your heart, it's just going to reach so many more people. And you never know, just because the book might say Fabric Wars, there may be so much more in there than what you realize is there, and it's going to touch you, and you're going to tell your friend. It's like, you're not going to believe me, but this book titled Fabric Wars, you're going to love it so much. And it's like, what? I don't like fabric. What are you talking about? But it's the stories in there. It's the human part of it. It's the heart in there. And just from the short time that I've known you, I know you've got these fabulous stories. Just it's just wonderful. I agree. I can hardly wait to get
Thank you.
mine so I can read them. Yeah, so that brings up a really good point. We're getting close to the end of the show. Where can people find your books?
Of course, they're on Amazon. You know, you can go to Amazon, pick it up. If you go to my Etsy shop, though, a lot of people, maybe they're not a textile person, maybe they know a textile person. It's a
Mhm.
fun gift. It's an
Oh,
unexpected
yeah,
gift. You know, textile people, crafters, they're a little hard to buy for. What do? You get them a gift card somewhere, and Joanne's not there anymore.
that's right.
So,
So get them Fabric Wars. That's a
right.
good
And
idea.
my
Yeah.
Etsy shop is Dot Oddity. You can get the books there and I can sign them there. I can inscribe them there. I also had bookmarks made for my books that match the books, and
Oh,
you'll get a free bookmark, you know, a little
that's
freebie.
wonderful. Yeah, and
Yeah.
bookmarks are very popular. I was surprised when I was going to vendor places, going to shows with my book, Henrietta the Hutto Hippo, and I had bookmarks set up for it, and everybody wanted the bookmarks. It was just like, are you kidding? They're bookmarks. Does anybody read books? But they love them. I don't know what they do,
Right.
but they absolutely love bookmarks. So good for you.
We printed silicone wristbands too for
Yes.
Arlo. That
Oh,
says Arlo
fun.
the Camp Bus on one side, and then on the inside is the secret message of the book. So you flip it over, it says, I am loved. So we did
Oh,
these wristbands too. And the first library event that we went to, you know, the illustrator and I, they did not do a very good job advertising. So we weren't getting very many people coming into the room. So I took a copy of the book and I went out into the library, because who goes to libraries these days? You have a lot of little kids and you have a lot of grandparents.
that's
And every
right.
single grandparent that I grabbed, I said, do you have grandkids? And I'd be talking to them as I was walking them into the room. But every single grandparent I dragged into that room bought a book. So
That's wonderful.
you just never know. Us grandparents are very sappy individuals. I tell you what.
I love that. Yes, we are. Okay, so we have your eBay shop, we have your Etsy shop. Find you on Amazon. Do you have a website too?
Oh, you know, it's on that bucket list to have a real website.
Yeah.
But I am on Instagram under Dot
Okay.
Oddity. I am on LinkedIn under Kira Hartley Klinger. I have a Facebook author page, Kira Hartley Klinger. You know,
Nice.
you juggle so many social media pages when you're going to write.
That's right. That's right. Why don't you hire somebody and I've got someone for you.
I always tell people, just Google me. I'm out
There
there
you
because
go.
you can put my name in and everything will pop up. You know, the internet's great that way.
It is. You Google me, you're going to get the songwriter, you're going to get another author, you're going to get me. You're going
It's
So it's
fabulous,
like,
though.
yeah, all right.
And now I've got some new children's books to read to my grandkids because I still read to them too.
Oh yeah, I love it. I love it. You know, they know they're going to get books from me, Ma.
Hmm.
That's for sure.
You're Meemaw and I'm Grammy.
Yeah, thank you so much for being on my show today. I do look forward to having you on Wisdom on the Front Porch. I know our audience will too. And,
Anytime.
and I love your books. So tell us again real quick. The name of it is
DOD, and then
DOD.
Oddity, ODDITY is
Okay,
that's my
dot
Etsy shop.
oddity.
Dot Oddity.
Okay, that sounds great. Thanks so much, Kira, and thank you, our audience, for being here. I really hope you go out and get some for books. I know you're going to love them. We'll see you next time on Reading Between the Words on Wisdom on the Front Porch.
Don't just listen,
Join the conversation. Tell us what you're building, what's challenging you, and what you've discovered along the way. Your question could inspire an entire episode, and your experience might be exactly the encouragement someone else needs. We'll save you a seat on the porch.
Subscribe, ring the bell, like, and share the wisdom.